Hey, and welcome back. So, hi. Whether you're on here live with us and it's Tuesday night or whether you're watching the recording, hi. We do upload 4 times a week here on the channel. We're actually live every Tuesday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I would love to see you on here with us if you are just bored and you want some weight loss tips, or if you just want to hang out. Like, let's hang out every Tuesday. We are live Tuesday nights, but we also upload Mondays. Of course, Tuesdays we're live, Wednesdays and Fridays. Weight loss tips, fitness tips, healthy, delicious, low-calorie recipes that are kid approved, picky husband approved. Obviously, I approve them because I eat them. And I'm a former morbidly obese chick, so I know how to eat. Like, sometimes you hear from some skinny chick that this is really good. And I don't know, as someone who's been former morbidly obese, like I've tried some things that skinny people recommended to me that I was just like, not so good. I have former morbidly obese taste buds. And so that has to say something. Like when you get to 288 pounds, you clearly know how to eat, or I wouldn't have gotten to 288 pounds. So anyway, tonight we're going to be talking about something that some things are taught and some things are caught. And if you can catch what we're going to be talking about for the next 20-ish minutes, then I'm telling you, this is a game changer. It will set you apart and you will start to see success. And this is one of those principles. A lot of the weight loss principles that I use, I actually borrowed from business. I was a businesswoman in business. I had many mentors. I had invested tens of thousands of dollars into my entrepreneurial education, personal growth, learning, people skills, and how to succeed as a business owner. And so many of these things, when I decided to lose weight 6.5 years ago, no, I had been trying to lose weight unsuccessfully since, I was a teenager. I spent over 10 years as a weight loss failure. So after having our second child, when I decided to jump back in the batter's box and I was sick of failing, I was sick of watching everybody around me pop up with their beautiful before and afters, and I so desperately wanted one of my own, I all of a sudden got the bright idea that, you know what? All these things worked for me in business. I had had success in business, but the one area that always eluded me was weight loss. Like, it was the one thing, no matter where I had success in life, business, parenting, marriage, finances, like I could just not get control of my health. No matter what I tried, no matter how hard I tried, it never quite worked. And so this one thing that I borrowed from business really changed everything for me. And this is one of those ones, like sometimes I feel like I've got to talk quite a bit to explain it and get my point across. This is one of those ones that we might not even be on here for 20 minutes tonight. I know I say that sometimes and then it's like 22 minutes and I'm like, dang it, how did I talk that long? But it's very simple. And it's one of those things that you may have heard even before. But see, there's a difference between hearing and knowing. And you'll hear me talk about this sometimes in some of our other videos. I used to be the person that was like, someone would talk about weight loss, and here I was at 288 pounds, and I'd be like, oh, I know that. Yep, I know that. Yep, I know that. Here's somebody telling me what to do to succeed at weight loss, and I'd be sitting here going, yep, know that. Yep, know that. Yep, know that. When the scale read 288 pounds when I was morbidly obese. See, the way you know if you know something is not if you've heard it before. The way you know if you know something is, are you doing it? Because if you're doing it, sorry, my hair is driving me crazy. It's like sticking. If you're doing it, that is proof that you know it. But if you're not doing it and your life isn't, if you can't look at your life and see that in your life, then if you've heard it, you don't know it. Does that make sense? And so this tip tonight, again, if you can catch this, it will change everything drastically. And that is taking responsibility for where you're at with your health. Taking 100% credit for your health. Both ways, right? So here, I had been a weight loss failure for a decade. And if I'm being 100% honest, and it doesn't do you or me any good if I lie about it, so the only thing I can do is be honest. I was that chick for a decade that had tried so many different diets. And clearly none of them worked for me because I was still fluffy. I was still 288 pounds. So even those diets that I would see work for other people, they didn't work for me because I wound up still at morbidly obese by the time the diet was done. Or I would lose 20 pounds and then go find them again. So clearly it didn't work. Well, never when all of a sudden the diet ended, or I quit, or I got frustrated, or I got emotional and I ate all my feelings, I would look back and say, yep, that didn't work for me. Or that trainer didn't work. I would always blame the diet. I would always blame the trainer or the coach or the eating plan or the whatever. And I never once, I cannot remember one time where I tried some weight loss, whatever, and I got done with it. It didn't work. And I said, you know what? That was amazing, but I didn't follow directions. That's why it didn't work. Or you know what? It clearly had a track record of success and it didn't work for me. So I must have effed that up. Like I must have screwed up if it didn't work because it worked for all these other people. And somehow I'm not the exception to the rule. I never said those things ever. And if I'm being honest, it never even occurred to me to say it. It was so natural for me to blame the diet or to blame whatever weight loss thing I had tried that didn't work. And I really had started to believe that if I just found the thing, the diet that was made for me, then I would have success. That there had to be one diet on the planet that was made just for me. And if I found it, then maybe then I could have one of those before and afters. That maybe then my story would be one of the stories on social media or YouTube that everybody would see. It never occurred to me that I was the problem in all the failures. It never really occurred to me that if it worked for other people before me and I was struggling, that there was a good shot that it wasn't the diet, it wasn't the system, that it was really me. And I can remember the day, because I had learned in business, right? That everybody has 24 hours in a day. We all live on planet Earth. We all have access to the same money that every other business does. So in the variable of success in business, the only variable was me. I was the only variable. Why are some people wildly successful and then some aren't? Because you can find people who grew up on the wrong side of the tracks. You can find people that grew up in a verbally, mentally, physically, sexually abused home that cross over and succeed. You can find people that grow up po. So po, they don't even get the R on the end, that crossed over and became wildly successful. You can also find people that grew up in a perfect home, whose parents were successful, that became po and didn't succeed at anything. And so how is it that we have people that succeed, that come from all different walks of life, and then we also have people that fail, that come from all different walks of life? And I had learned through business that the difference in success wasn't all the variables around us. It wasn't all these external things. The biggest determining factor to success was, in fact, me, ourselves, yourself. And all of a sudden, I just thought, like, I can still remember sitting in my car thinking, driving my Aztec. You remember those cars? I used to have a Rally Aztec. It was the first vehicle I ever paid cash for. And I can remember driving down the road in my Aztec. It was the one like where the back popped up and they had like these tents that could come out of them. It was like an extra thing you could buy. Anyway, I can remember Ellen DeGeneres had one. And when they first came out and she was all like, it was like, anyway, no, was it Ellen or Rosie? No, it was Rosie O'Donnell when she had a talk show. Anywho, stay focused. I can remember driving my Rally Aztec down the highway, and all of a sudden I was like, wait a minute. If weight loss success is the same as regular success, then I'm the reason I failed. I'm the reason I'm fluffy. I'm the reason. There's no special diet. All those diets would have worked. You're the one that didn't work. The diet worked. You didn't work. And it was like a mind-blowing epiphany that just like all of a sudden popped into my brain. And I cannot remember a time before then. And I know this sounds so silly, but I cannot remember a time before that it ever crossed my mind that I was the reason I was fluffy. That the diets really did work, but I was the one that didn't work. Didn't even cross my mind. Like, what? Now, I know some of y'all on here are judging me right now. And you're like, what do you mean it didn't cross your mind? You thought it was somebody else's fault? Yes, I really did. I really did have an excuse for every single time I failed. And so in that moment, I started looking in the mirror. And I started taking personal responsibility for exactly why I was exactly where I was at. I took personal responsibility for my size 22 behind. I took personal responsibility for when I jumped, everything jiggled. I took personal responsibility for every single weight loss failure I had had. I took personal responsibility for eating fourth meal at night because I was, prior to that, my husband was a fourth meal eater, and I would blame me eating fourth meal on him. I would blame the big giant bucket of popcorn at the theater on him. Because, he held a gun to my head and he got the giant popcorn bucket with butter and made me eat it. No, he got the giant popcorn. Did he make me eat the giant popcorn with him? No. He got the giant popcorn. He got fourth meal for himself. Did he make me eat fourth meal with him? No. I chose to eat fourth meal. I chose to join him in his gluttony. I chose my bad decisions. And prior to that, I was very good at blaming everybody, everything, and all of my circumstances for my decisions. Not taking ownership for my decisions. I would blame the holidays. I would blame the birthdays. I would blame having a bad day. I would blame being too busy. You think of it, I blamed it for me being overweight instead of owning it. Instead of saying, yeah, I had a bad day, but I chose to eat my feelings. I chose not to follow directions on that diet. I chose to buy those workout DVDs or that streaming subscription and only do it twice. I chose to buy that $3,000 treadmill that collected dust and I hung my drying clothes on that couldn't go in the dryer. Yep, I chose that. True story. The treadmill had a TV. It had like the little things where the personal trainer would come through and talk to you. It was an amazing treadmill. $3,000. Like in change, $3,000 in change is how much that sucker cost. They had to deliver it with a forklift to my house. It was a beast. I think I used it 3 times, moved it all across the country. Didn't use it then. It went in my basement, never even got put together. Sad state of affairs. But when I started taking responsibility for everything, I'm going to start this diet. And I know this diet works. The question is, will I work? Will I do what it takes to succeed? And I started changing the way I talked to myself. I started changing the way I thought. I started changing the words that came out of my mouth to, instead of they and you, to me. My choice, my decisions. And just like, see, so many times we want to take responsibility for the good things. We want to take responsibility when we succeed. But we don't want to take the responsibility when things aren't going our way. We want the kudos. We want the pat on the back. We want all of that when things are going amazing. but we like to divert attention when things aren't. And what I will tell you is if you can take personal responsibility for exactly where you're at and for you getting yourself there. I got myself to morbidly obese and I kept myself stuck for a decade. But I also chose, and that was my choice. That was my choosing. Mine. Nobody else's. I made those choices. I chose to overeat. I chose to get frustrated and quit every diet. I chose to jump around. I chose to get distracted. I chose to let my emotions rule me and to emotionally eat. I chose. But I also chose to draw a line in the sand. I also made the decision that enough was enough. And I also made the decision to get started, to restart. I also made the decision to start tracking my food. We are capable of making bad decisions and making good decisions. We are capable of making decisions that move us farther away from our goals and then making decisions that move us closer to our goal. But the one thing you make no mistake about is that it is our decision. And there's something funny about having that perspective that changes things. About when I didn't work out, instead of saying I don't have time to work out, versus I chose not to make the time to work out. Do you see the difference in those statements? I didn't have time to work out today. I didn't make the time to work out today. And when I started saying things like that, I was just like, oh, heck no. It made it very clear to me that I just wasn't making my health a priority. And the decisions I was making were consistently and constantly moving me farther away from my goal than moving me closer. And your words are seed. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. And if your words are seed, when you speak them, imagine a garden. You are planting seeds into the ground. Well, for a decade, I planted seeds of excuses, seeds of blame, seeds of why my morbidly obeseness wasn't my fault. Maybe I had a thyroid condition. Maybe it was genetics. Maybe I was just bigger boned and I was never going to be small. When I started changing the words and changing the seed and taking responsibility, everything changed. Everything, hear me? Everything changed. I went from a weight loss failure to succeeding. But it wasn't before I looked in the mirror and took full responsibility for where I was, for the choices I had been making. And really being serious about, Carmen, are these decisions moving you farther away from your goal or closer to? And when you can get to that place where you start being honest with yourself, no longer lying to yourself, no longer blaming, because when you point the finger at somebody else, you got how many pointing back at you? There's always going to be external factors. Always, right? Success is not based on external factors. Success is not based on how many lemons get thrown at us. Success is not based on if things go perfectly, because things never do. Success is based on how we handle the lemons that get thrown our way, how we rebound from a bad situation, how we overcome things that are trying to overcome us, how we handle a bad situation, what choices we make when we're frustrated or emotional. Will we give in or will we give up, or will we persist and overcome? Or will we be overcome? Which one? Because the choice to overcome or the choice to be overcome lies within all of us. The choice to take responsibility and see how we can, for our choices, and see how we could have done better, or the choice to blame, which means we didn't grow at all. when you take no responsibility, there's no growth in that. You are keeping yourself stuck when you blame other people. And look, I'm not telling you that from a place of judgment or you suck if you did that. I could never say it from that place, because I can only say it from a place of I've lived this. I've done this. I've lived on both sides of blame, no responsibility, their fault, not mine, to no. I'm not a victim of any circumstance. I'm not a victim of my weight. I'm not a victim of anybody else's decisions, but I am the ruler of my decisions. I am the ruler of my soul. I'm the ruler of my own life. And I am the biggest determining factor in my success and my decisions I'm in complete control of. And just start saying that to yourself. And for some of you, this might sound silly. I know it sounds simple. It is simple, but it's profound. Don't dismiss it because it sounds so simple. Don't dismiss it as, psh, Carmen, whatever. I'm telling you, sometimes the magic is in the simple things. Sometimes the magic is in something we dismiss. So don't dismiss this. Use this. My prayer before this call tonight was that if just one person listened to this video and got it and went, oh my gosh, I do that too. But I can change it because I've been doing that and I'm in control of my decisions. And I can say that starting tomorrow, I'm no longer going to do it. If just one person caught it, then it was worth my time 10 times over. So anyway, yeah, if you have not hit the subscribe button, make sure to do that. Give the video a thumbs up and check out some of our other videos here on the channel. I mean, I'm kind of biased, but we do have some pretty awesome weight loss tips. I mean, they helped me lose 161 pounds. They've helped thousands of clients from around the world lose weight, keep it off, get healthier, get abs, arm muscles. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. We will see you on